Wow, what a way to start the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a long time since I've had to deal with stuff like that. It used to be sometimes epidemic, but what I'm talking about is technical issues. Oftentimes, being as so much of what I do is software based, the tools and stuff that I use, but there's also hardware involved with cameras and a scene switching console that I use as well. And sometimes they don't talk, and it rarely happens, but when it happens, it's like, oh, so I had to, that's why I got the late start tonight. I had to get that working because it really does kind of hamstring me in order to do a show, to have to try to manually switch scenes and stuff. It's just a pain in the tail. So I did get it working, but that's why we started late, in case you missed me whining on the messages. Sorry to clear my throat there. But hope you're doing great. Happy Wednesday. Don sends his apologies, but he can't be here tonight. Hello, Deborah Neighbors. Hello, Karen. Hello, Cecil. Hello, Annie. Hello, Karen. Hello, Portal Mom. Hello, Rachel gets it right. Good to see all of you guys. Renee is in here as well. Who have I missed? Batman's here, of course. Batman. Yeah, it's great to see everybody. Annie Manuel, good to see you. Have I missed anybody? Barbara Mora, of course, she's in here. Wizard Moon, Weapon X5, great to see you for popping in. Lucky Gypsies over on the Twitch and in Rumble, so thank you so much for being all over the place. That's awesome. Bad Boy's here. Good to see you, Bad Boy. Bad Boy Channels. He's been a long-time supporter of the show. Just a wonderful guy. And it's a pleasure to see you here for the live streams, brother. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to see all of you, of course. But just so you know. Let's see. I'm just looking to see if any other names are popping up. There's a lot of chatting going on already. So it looks like I think I got everybody. If I missed you, I'm sorry. I apologize. Of course, Maggie's hanging out with her eldest, and so I don't know if she's going to be really here or if that means they're hanging out watching the Portal together. I don't know what that means, but hopefully you're doing wonderful. Some good news, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Deb Varner is doing better, much better. Thank you for your continued love and prayers to her as she's going through this incredible healing process. Okay. Sorry, just had something pop up on the phone, so I had to look at that quick. Yeah, I've got about 15 conversations going on at any given time, and I'm a little schizophrenic, but that's okay. I'm the nicest bunch of people you ever want to meet. I promise. I'm not usually, not ever, I don't think, a horrible person, but wow, look at the flat line there. Okay, there was a spike that came up on the ghost radar, but it's pretty flat line now. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. That's on your screen right down here. I'm circling it with my mouse. You see that mouse, the green on the lower, what is it? Your lower right corner of the screen, right next to the chat. That's the ghost radar, and that should detect any anomalies if there are any popping up. So just so you know. And, is it paranormal? Maybe. Maybe not. But it's definitely some kind of electromagnetic flux or variations going on that it's tracking. So could that be spiritual? Could be. Could be. Just saying. But I'm not saying it is. Now, over in Rumble, we got HB Girl to You is over there. Taipan's over there. And Barbara's over there, too. So great to see everybody. Thank you, all you guys. I'm just looking, is anything popping off on Twitch at all? Looks like just me and HB Girl, so we're keeping an eye on things, which is wonderful. I don't know, is this working? I better refresh this. That didn't look like that actually went live, so let me see. Is it live? It is live. Okay, now it's live. Okay. I just got to watch these things because we are streaming on 3 platforms, ladies and gentlemen. We're streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on the big green machine, Rumble, as well as Twitch. And so we got 3 platforms that are going on here. Of course, we've been with YouTube the longest. It's where I've met all of you guys. So thank you so much for finding the show, and glad to see you guys here. John Stevenson just popped in. Good to see you. David Zeismer, how you doing? Great to see you guys. Thank you so much for coming in. I'm a little raspy because I've been sitting here frantically trying to cram food down my face and troubleshoot. So, yeah, that's been my afternoon. But that's how we roll here in the portal. But we got a lot of things going on. It's just me again. Don's not here. His schedule got all flipped around, and he couldn't get it, or he couldn't alter it in time to get here tonight. So it's unfortunate, but we'll sure miss him, of course. But I'll have to do my best to entertain you until he gets back on next Wednesday. So let's see. Brent, looks like 5 popped in just watching. It's great that they're here. Oh, that's very cool. Twitch people stopping in. Very good. Well, I hope if you're on Twitch, I love the idea of streaming on Twitch. I like several Twitch streams. There's many personalities on Twitch that I find are incredible. I mean, they're doing a great job. They've been at it for years and very enjoyable. And I was like, well, why not put the portal on Twitch too? It's another avenue, it's another platform, and it's another opportunity to introduce what we're doing to a whole new audience of people. So that's what we're doing over there. And we love the fact that people are starting to check it out. And if you're watching on Twitch, by all means, please follow or, subscribe to the show or whatever you do on Twitch. What is it called? I don't actually, I view things on Twitch quite a bit. I know that following is a big thing. But I know there's gifted subs and things like that. And I can't pretend I understand a bunch of it, but I've heard the term. So I just throw words around to try to sound smart. So excuse me. Sorry. All right. So, as always, we're going to launch off the show by diving into some news and see what I've pulled up for you. Some of it's from today, some of it's not. Neil came in. Who's Neil? Which Neil? I don't know which Neil. Let's see. I don't know who the Neil is. Well, whoever Neil is, good to see you. Thank you, Neil, for coming in. I know there's several Neils that are part of our audience here, so that's really cool. How does a blind person know when to stop? Oh, my God. Donald Barton, what's up with that? I don't even know. I'm not. I'm going to get to the news. Vincent Sanchez says, done news. Oh, it's hubby, Neil Alberting. Good. It's wonderful to see you, Neil. Thanks for coming in with the missus and keeping us company here. Karen and her husband have been amazing supporters of the show, and including finding us at many conferences where we've appeared at. It's like wherever we are, there comes Karen and Neil. So wonderful, wonderful people. Love them to pieces. So thank you guys so much for being here as always. And thank you all. All right, we're going to get to the news. I'm not going to grab that punchline. Donald, sorry. This is a family show, and I don't know where that's going, but it just can't be good. It just can't be good. So, but I appreciate the joke. That's pretty good. Actually, I was trying to line one up myself for the news, but I've forgotten it. I forgot one that I was lining up. Dang it. Oh, well. All right. It's fine, Donald. I mean, you didn't cuss or anything. It's fine. It's just, I don't want to start talking about poop as we go into the news. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further delay, let's get to the news and find out just what I've curated for your benefit. Here we go. We're going in. It's time for the news. You're damn right, John Stevenson. That's in honor of Don. All right, ladies and gentlemen. It's time. It's time once again for the news. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'm your anchor, Brent Thomas. Ooh, the ghost box was spiking again. You know, the last show, that the ghost radar thing was just flatlined, the whole thing. I mean, not one thing happened. And now there's some things jumping around tonight. I don't know. Must be ghosts in the machines tonight, folks. So, anyway, the best news ever, David says. Thank you, David. Brown chicken, brown cow. That's right. That's right. Vince is doing the Don shout out too. Hey, David Barnes, how you doing? I saw you were in, who was it? Whose stream were you in? I saw your comments long after the stream was live. Well, I think it was on Dave Schrader's stream, I think. You were watching the Paranormal 60, is that right? Very cool. It's always fun to go check out other shows and to see some of the audience of you guys and see your names pop up. And sometimes I'm there live, like on Hometown Ghost Stories. I often check out their Tuesday streams. They are just wonderful and do a hell of a job. And, yeah, so I always like, going over there. Oh, there's so-and-so. Oh, there's so-and-so. Sometimes I watch them after they're live, so it's video on demand, and I see your comments come up from you guys, and it's like, oh, that's cool. Very cool. So I'm glad you guys are out there pursuing all this creepy stuff with, some great shows. That's not to, of course, I expect full loyalty here first, but I'm just kidding. All right, so let's get to the news, ladies and gentlemen. And I've pulled up several stories for you tonight. This one's kind of exciting to me. I don't pre-read anything, so just so you know. So, like, when I'm reading stuff with you, it's actually the first time I'm hearing it, too. I kind of like that, so we can have this moment of discovery and discussion. If I pre-read everything, then it's, I don't know, it just seems more disingenuous. But when it's like, oh, wait, what? That's kind of fun. So that's why I treat these shows. And therefore, if I also screw up a whole bunch of pronunciations, that I didn't rehearse it. I'm just reading it as it's on the screen. And I've got a Minnesota palate, and it's not very sophisticated. So there's a lot of languages out there and words that absolutely throw me for a loop. But I do my best. All right, so we're going to get to the first article, and again, throughout the course of the show, ladies and gentlemen, we utilize several different sites. These are amazing sites, and I can only ask to please support them, please visit them, please give them your time and your traffic, because that does help pay the bills for them. And I really do highly recommend these sites. These are amazing sites. These people are doing an exceptional job, so please support what they're doing. It's not a cheap endeavor to host a site, and I always want to promote what we use on the show because, we don't have a huge platform, but we have an incredible platform of people here, and I know many of you guys are out there looking into a lot of this stuff, so please check out these sites. The first site we're going to utilize is one of my favorite news sites ever, and this is a site called unexplained-mysteries.com. And this article looks pretty exciting, actually. Physicists propose potentially groundbreaking real-life warp drive. That's right, folks. We'll be facing off with Klingons before you know it. All right, let's see what's going on here. It says, could the warp drive one day enable long-distance space travel? One group of physicists certainly seems to think so. Anyone who's ever watched Star Trek will no doubt there you go. Reading them cold. No doubt be familiar with the concept of warp drive, a futuristic propulsion system that can enable travel through space at faster than light speeds. While scientists have dabbled with the idea of building a real-life warp drive over the years, no practical solution has ever been forthcoming, though that may be about to change. I hope so. That'd be really cool. Let's get to Mars in like 2 minutes. That's fantastic. Known as the constant velocity subliminal warp drive, this latest incarnation of the warp drive concept has been developed by physicists from the University of Alabama, Huntsville, and from the Advanced Propulsion Laboratory at the Applied Physics think tank in New York. Ooh, a think tank. It's better than the stink tank. No, just kidding. I'm an idiot. Just so if you're new to the show, this is, I'm always just an idiot. Just so you know. The exact mechanics of their proposed drive are complex, to say the least. Part of the concept is similar to an idea proposed by theoretical physicist Miguel Alcubierre in the 1994, whose Alcubierre drive worked by contracting space in front of a spacecraft and then expanding space behind it, thus propelling it along without relying on conventional propulsion. The new constant velocity subliminal warp drive would work by combining this concept with a stable shell of ordinary matter to create a warp bubble in which the ship would travel. The team also believes it can be done without requiring exotic or negative forms of matter. Of course, the proof is in the pudding, so unless someone actually manages to build this thing and demonstrate that it works, it will likely remain little more than a theoretical concept. It would certainly be great if it actually did work, though. Yeah, could you imagine? What are the opportunities? I mean, suddenly the stars are available, Not just for decorations on the firmament, but as destinations potentially. And what a neat thing that would be, is just to be able to just zip over and check out a whole different star system or other galactic, things like nebulas and stuff up close and personal. I think that's fascinating and would be incredible. So I hope we're about to crack that shell. Not that they're probably going to load me on any craft ever, but at least I can vicariously live through those that may get to experience this. That's really cool. Very cool stuff. So that's the first article up. Used to be science fiction. Now it might just be science fact. That'd be kind of cool. It's amazing how much of today's technology was yesterday's science fiction. I mean, just think of it. In the 20s, 30s, the Dick Tracy, maybe it was the 40s and 50s, but anyway, the Dick Tracy comics where they had the radio transmitters on their wrist and they got into these flying garbage cans, which is, that still hasn't worked out. But if you watch like Star Trek, even The Next Generation, which is a more recent incarnation from, the 90s or whatever, touch screens were a thing of theirs, and like cell phones, these, handheld tools. And now we've basically got them, in many regards. We can communicate, we can, talk and use tools and many things. So I it's just, if it can be thought of, it seems to be that it can be developed, and that's really exciting. I'm waiting for lightsabers personally, and a whole lot of amputees. I've seen the way people do those, the lightsabers that are, light up tubes, and man, they'd be slicing their arms off all the time. They would just be a mess. Be a lot of problems, I'm sure, but it'd be kind of cool still. When I was a kid, we were doing all kinds of stupid stuff, like having, like bottle rocket fights and BB gun wars and, things like that, throwing darts at each other and hitting each other. I mean, we did all kinds of really stupid things. I mean, just imagine how easy, throwing a dart is like, oh, my eye, it's done. I'm the kid that actually did get shot in the eye with a BB, although it wasn't during a BB gun fight, but it was still, it happened. I was that kid, So, and it was absolutely miserable. It was so much pain. Having a BB go into your eye is excruciating, is the best way I can put it. But that was me. So as far as stupid people, kids being stupid and doing stupid things with things they shouldn't, why not a lightsaber at this point? No, I'm just kidding. I don't think kids should be using them, even if they do come out. So anyway, that's kind of exciting, I think. Let's get to the stars. Let's see what we can find. Let's see what we can learn. I'm for it. I'm ready. Take us out there. Let's go. All right, coming up next on the next article on the news is the next article, which this one is kind of interesting. I remember seeing something about this, and now I don't think we covered this. No, we wouldn't have covered this. What was the date on Saturday? I'm hoping I'm not repeating it. No, it would have been. It came out on Sunday, according to here. But this is an interesting story. It looks wonderful, but I think I might have it pulled up on Phantoms and Monsters too. I think Lon might have done one of these. But anyway, let's get into it. This one is from unexplained-mysteries.com. This is kind of the other side of Bigfoot, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a sweet side. It sounds really wonderful, but I don't know the specifics yet. Or if I did read it, I don't recall them, because I read, dozens and dozens and dozens of stories every week. So it's hard to remember what I've read and what I haven't. But anyway, if it's one we've covered, I apologize. It's going to be redundant, but unexplained-mysteries.com brings us a story from Creatures, Myths, and Legends. Man claims to have found his daughter playing with Bigfoot in the woods. I love that kind of story. I mean, as long as it's not carrying your kid away, that's really, I mean, it's still kind of concerning, but it at least shows that there's a tender, sweet side to this. I'm imagining it probably most likely a female Bigfoot, but the males tend to be much more, much more territorial and pissy, for lack of a better term. But the females seem to be, real sweethearts for the most part. Anyway, an intriguing story recently surfaced that describes a very close encounter with an alleged Bigfoot in California. The incident, which was recounted by a man who gave his name only as Mark, reportedly occurring in the woods near a quiet town in Northern California back on August 2nd, 2022. Mark, his wife, his young daughter had picked up some produce from a local farmer's market before heading to the forest, where they settled down for a picnic among the flowers. Well, as they prepared the lunch, the daughter ran off to play among the trees nearby. About 15 minutes later, a loud scream prompted both parents to rush over to find out if she was all right. What they saw at that moment will likely stick with them for the rest of their lives. There, sitting on a tree log, was the young girl, and sitting next to her was a tall, hairy creature. She seemed completely relaxed and content, but next to her was an enormous hairy creature that was easily 7 or 8 feet tall while crouching. Even while crouching. How in the hell? I mean, that would have to be a monster one. Mark recalled the beast, which was bipedal, covered in brown hair, seemed to be happily playing with the little girl, and she did not seem to fear her unusual playmates, nor did she try to run away. It's almost like the pair were playing a game of copycat, both tilting their heads and scratching their cheeks in turn, said Mark. It made low, rumbling grunts, as if laughing. Eventually, the little girl noticed her parents nearby and ran over to join them. Shortly afterward, the Bigfoot stood up, stared at them for a time, and then retreated into the woods. Despite visiting the same area multiple times, neither Mark or his wife ever saw the creature again. Wow. I mean, wow, right? That's amazing. First of all, I don't know. I don't know how it works in the Bigfoot world. Generally, I've assumed from what anecdotal evidence I've heard is that the females tend to be around the 6-7 foot mark, maybe a little higher. But the males are the ones that really get huge. I don't know that that's true. I don't know that it's not true. It's just a version of the story that I've heard regarding the physiology between the genders. So if this would have been a male, that'd be really pretty spectacular as well. But I have covered stories where female Bigfoot have actually like helped to guide small children back to campsites where they wandered off by holding their hand and bringing them up to the edge of the thicket, and the kid will run away into there and where you been? Well, I was lost and this big teddy bear or furry monster brought me back, that kind of thing. And so these are wonderfully heartwarming tales, but there is the other side of it too. So you just can't say, well, I heard this story of, the Bigfoot like to sit down and play with kids, so I'm just going to go out and try to sit next to a Bigfoot. Bad idea. Don't do that. Don't do that. So I don't know what you think. What do you guys think of that? I mean, so do we know this is true? No. We don't know pretty much anything other than that this is what is reported by the guy. I don't. Maybe he wants his 5 minutes. Maybe he wants a moment of recognition for having this event happen. But maybe he's telling the truth. And we're just on the outside looking into this. But it's a beautiful gesture, I think, that it's at just being sweet with a little kid. It is. I don't I don't know how old is this girl. Did it say? Did anybody catch the age? I didn't see an age listed. Young girl, the daughter, his young daughter. Okay, so it doesn't really give us an age of the child, but I don't think I would ever let a small child, even, sub teenager, I don't think I would be real comfortable letting them too far out of my eyesight just because, I mean, there's just too much stuff that can happen, and there's too many creepy people out there, to be honest with you. So I'm very, very protective of my children. So, but I guess these people were much more comfortable with that. Maybe they've been in the woods many, 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 many times, and the kid was, fine. But how do you know? So anyway, that's just my sidebar on that. So just food for thought. But I wouldn't let my kid go wander off into the woods alone. No. Anyway. Cool story. I love that story a lot. I think it's a beautiful possibility. I hope it's true. I really do. I honestly hope that's absolutely true. That's a sweet story. But there's more stories. The next one is kind of, I don't know. This one's kind of gone back and forth for a while now, but this is the discussion of potential big cats in the UK. And I'm a believer they're out there. Again, I do think it's most likely that these big cats were exotic pets that were released because the laws changed in the UK, much as they did in Australia. And people went, oh, you mean I can't have this panther anymore? Okay, go, be free. And now if they go, and they're still, managing to probably breed and subsist in the natural world of the United Kingdom as well as in Australia. But I think these things are probably out there. Too many sightings, too many accounts. And here's a possible real evidence that is the case. And this is from unexplained-mysteries.com, Nature and Environment. DNA test confirms the presence of an exotic big cat in a British countryside. There you go. Alleged big cat sighting reportedly filmed in the UK. And this is an image credit, the Dragonfly Films. And I think they did the documentary over there that's purportedly tested the DNA. When was this? This is actually a new article. I thought this all came out and surfaced from the documentary late last year or maybe late summer last year. And there was a lot of people trying to debunk it based on some sketchy possibilities of how they did it or did the film or whatever. But anyway, The new evidence would seem to put to bed the notion that claims of big cats roaming the British Isles are false. Reports of large predatory cats such as panthers have persisted across the United Kingdom for years. And while it's long been suspected that a population of these animals has been roaming the British countryside, conclusive evidence of their existence has remained stubbornly thin on the ground. Now, though, new evidence analyzed by Professor Robin Allaby of the University of Warwick would seem to offer confirmation that there really is at least one large predatory cat loose in the UK. The sample in question was taken from a sheep carcass after a woman unexpectedly disturbed a large animal that had been feeding on it back in October. I assumed at first it was a sheepdog, but then I did a double take and realized it was a black cat, she said. It was big, the size of a German Shepherd dog. The subsequent DNA analysis has since suggested that the culprit was in fact a leopard. Oof. It makes me convert to the existence of exotic big cats in the UK, said Professor Allaby. Until now, I've remained open-minded. I think that's my job as a scientist. Good for you, a scientist that's actually open-minded. Well done, sir. Exactly how many of these cats there are in the country, however, remains unclear. So there you go. Apparently there's actual DNA evidence of a leopard that was recovered from a sheep. That was reported by this woman who ended up scaring away this big cat that was feeding on the sheep. So I think it's interesting, though, because I don't know. I know that the cats and the big cats like leopards in Africa, they do pull their prey up into a tree just to keep it away from other predators. And I don't know if that's only because there's so many other predators that would feed on it that it becomes a necessity and they know that, or if perhaps this leopard is from somewhere where they don't do that. I don't know. I mean, it's anybody's guess. I don't pretend to be a biologist in any way, but that's interesting stuff. So there you go. There might be scientific evidence, ladies and gentlemen, to the presence of big cats in the UK at least. And I'm sure it'll probably be proven eventually in both UK and in Australia. I mean, my God, over here in the States, it's hard to, get official recognition to the fact that there's mountain lions that are all over the place. They like to say, no, they're just mostly up in Canada and the west of the United States. But people are finding tracks. They're finding, they're sighting these big cats. I've talked to people back in Minnesota who swear they saw these big cats from time to time. And more like a mountain lion, cougar kind of thing. But still, that's, Those are very real experiences these people are having, and they can't all be wrong, can they? Every one of them? I don't think so. But anyway, that's the update on the big cats, in case you're interested in any of that controversy. And so there's definitely a big check mark in the pro big cat in UK category now. So, how are we doing for time? 7:44. We're moving right along. I think that's probably enough news. There's Mr. Tommy Cooper popping in. Mr. Golden V or Golden 5. I'm not sure if that's a Roman numeral 5 or just a V, but either way, nice to meet you. Good to see you, Tommy. Melanistic. Yeah. Could be a melanistic. If they're black, yeah. I mean, there are some that are melanistic. I was trying to say something more profound, but nothing came out right. So I don't know. That's all you're getting today, folks. Hi, Eric. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. All right, so I think that's going to wrap it up for the news for tonight. We'll cover more news on Friday night when Sheldon's here and on Saturday as well. Brent, Flip Dizzy's made a donation during the news. What? I got to scroll up and check that out. What happened? Flip Dizzy's. Oh, very cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Flip Dizzy's, and it's nice to meet you. I'm glad you stopped in. Very cool. Thank you, Rachel. I appreciate the heads up. Yeah. I just, when I'm doing the news, it's like I have everything on chat. The chats are all minimized behind another whole panel of tabs and stuff, and then I pull them over here to read, so I can't see the chats at all. So I apologize. It took me a while to acknowledge that, but it is incredibly appreciated. Thank you so much. Small enough for a female leopard, they compared to German shepherds or Rotties in size. Wow. Okay. Thank you, Annie. That's interesting. Very, very interesting. Hi, Smoking Guns. Good to see you. Smoking Guns Fab Shop. That's a good friend of Chucky's and a hell of a metal fabricator. I'm here to tell you. You see the D-hole print back here that I'm pointing at on the wall? Chunky designed that, but it was Smoking Guns Fab Shop that cut that out. And then Chucky powder coated it. It's just really cool stuff. The precision is amazing, guys. So thank you so much. Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. I'd love to do some custom stuff like that, actually. I would love to. I got some ideas for designs. Yeah, very, very cool. All right, so yeah, it's great to see you all. Thank you so much for coming in, everybody. It's lovely. Absolutely lovely. All right, let's see what's going on here. We're going to get to... What are we going to get to now? Oh, some articles. That's right. Yes, I do work here. I do work here. Why in the hell is that all still goofy? Okay. Anyway, we'll just do it like that. Oh, now it's going to... I have to check all the different streams to see, and I realized I just forgot to check Rumble, so I'm checking it now. And it kind of goes in... It stays in the standby pattern until you make it an active window, and then it just suddenly goes live. So it is working. All right. It's working. I can verify we are live on all the platforms now. I can't believe I forgot to check that earlier. But that's how my brain works. Okay, I can close that. I don't need that open. All right, here we go. So let's close out the news first of all. I forgot to do that too. It is a Wednesday, isn't it? Jesus, I got to get my head straight. Chicken bunk out. I'm just joking, of course. That's Don's line. I don't mean to steal his stuff. I don't mean to. It just happens sometimes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I got a couple of cool articles pulled up. I think the first thing we're going to do is burn through the rest of one of them that we've been going through for a while. And I think it's from, it's from House and Wise. House and Wise. And... yes, it's from Ranker. Ranker.com. Sorry. Another one of those wonderful sites that I've asked you guys. Hey, Jaron Daniels, thanks for coming in, brother. Hola, all keeping it funky and freaky. It's paranormal time. It is. I'm glad you recognize, brother. Thanks for coming in. John LaBella, it's okay, brother. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you coming in when you can find the time. And if life happens and you don't find the time, then, come in and watch the replay. That's always fine too. 50 demerits. Eric Frey is handing out the demerits tonight. Eric is the doorman for the portal, so you have to pay the man. 50 demerits. I'm just saying. All right, we're going to get to this article. This is one from ranker.com. And let's see, we're on number 5. Is that right? Oh, Jesus. I didn't know that. Okay. I'm learning stuff all the time here. This is an article that we've been going through for a while. And this is from ranker.com, and it's written by a person named Amber Fua. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Oops, I left that up, didn't I? We're not there yet. And this is 15 stories about fairies that prove they're more creepy than cute. Now, I'm not really sure that these are fairies, but she's kind of summed them up into the fairy category. But there's some pretty creepy things we've discussed and covered on this list up till now. And this is from Ranker.com. Again, Ranker.com is a really incredible site. They've got so much stuff about anything you're interested in. So you can go over to Ranker.com and do some searches. If you look at the top here, I mean, it's the Pukwudgie, Fresno Nightcrawlers, Jinns and Genies, the Night Hag. I'm really fascinated by Jinns and Genies. I don't know if there is a distinction between them. I've never heard that before, but it does make me curious to look at this article, and I'll look at it later and see what that is. And then, of course, the obligatory Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary thing. That's weird stuff. But anyway, we're going through this list. We've covered several of them. But again, I'm not so sure these are really the Fae. In many cases, I think that some of them seem to be more wraiths or whatever. But this is the one. I think this is the last one we did. And this is the Viracus. They gather outside the homes of dying people. That's right. And they get excited by blood. And there's all kinds of craziness with those. Again, these are very legendary and folklorish. But perhaps they're based on some form of truth. Some nuggets of history, observed history. So, again, sometimes folklore is just folklore. But I think oftentimes these things take root because it's something that more than one person has experienced. So maybe there's something to these. Just saying. I'm not trying to make you get all nervous. There's enough stuff in the world to be nervous about, but this one looks creepy as hell. And I don't know if what is this? Yeah, let's see. It says they eat humans. It's a horse and lizard, like a sea serpent combination, I guess. Fairies aren't just menaces. Oh, yeah, this is Kelpies. Okay. Menaces to humans. They can be a threat to their own kind, too. Consider Kelpies a kind of human-eating fae. Small, ugly, and bulbous, Kelpies are known for their foul tempers. They were once said to crop up everywhere in Scottish lochs and in the North Sea, but fell into decline thanks to their appetite for other fairies. Ooh. But Kelpies don't discriminate when it comes to slaying. They love to eat deer that wander too near the lochs, and they are able to shapeshift to lure human prey. There are even folk tales about Kelpies who take the appearance of seahorses, luring young maidens who they then submerge and devour. God, there was some really dark stuff. I mean, you ever read the Grimm's fairy tales? Those are horrid. Those are truly horrid. They're not the sweet versions that we've got watered down in today's world. They were pretty dark, twisted stories. All right, they have evil souls comes up next, and this is according to Irish folklore. The slough, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, are fairies thought to be the souls of evil people. These fairies travel in a swarm at night, often appearing like blackbirds. Their preferred prey are dying people who have yet to be given their last rites. And some stories, however, say that you can call them by feeling deep sadness or simply by saying their name. Oh, don't say the name then. Once they have you, I'm not even going to name it again. Screw that. I don't need sloths over here. Once they have you in your sights, the only way to be rid of them is to offer another person in your place. But they're easy to spot in their humanoid form. They look like malnourished people with leathery wings. Well, that's horrid. That's horrid. Again, doesn't that just sound like demons or whatever? Or something akin to a demon? Maybe imps or demons? I don't know. Again, I know everything's a demon in today's paranormal world, but you know what I'm saying. That's crazy. The sloughs, okay. They lure you in with bait comes next. This looks like something out of Japan or something, but maybe not. According to Filipino folklore, close, the Berberoka, okay, I'm just guessing here, are highly dangerous fairies that inhabit rivers and swamps, and they're said to prey upon fishermen by ingesting large volumes of water, thereby bringing up fish. Once the fishers make their way to that specific spot, the Berberoka regurgitates the water and capsizes their boats. Ultimately, the helpless fishers are dragged underneath and eaten. Underwater. Yeah, that's horrid. I used to watch this show called River Monsters with Jeremy Wade, that very white-haired guy. And that guy would go around the world and I don't know. I mean, obviously, maybe they were fishing for a very long time. But he pulls some abominations out of these waters. Like there's some tiger fish from Africa that looks just like, it looks like a piranha on steroids. It's this huge fish. And it's got like this alligator jaw of like sharp pointed teeth. And other things he pulled out, like these monster catfish or some version of catfish around the world. And if you've ever seen a thing like a catfish eat, they just kind of open their mouths and whatever's in front of them just gets sucked in, and then they close their mouth. And it kind of makes me think, well, is that what people are assuming? Like, because some of these big things that he would catch were known man-eaters in some of these countries. I mean, they would just be people missing. And so they came to understand that some of these big catfish type things were actually ingesting people, just by essentially sucking them in. It's not like they bite and, chew on them. Some of them, the things that he caught would do that, but they would eat them whole. And it's just absolutely terrifying. Yeah, there's noodling too. Noodling, Taipan says over in Rumble. Yeah, noodling is a whole different thing. Ooh, Filipino can be real spooky. They used to use the folklore against the Japanese in World War II, catch shoulders and do stuff and then say it was some version of a demon, scared them silly. Yeah, that's right. They're I forget what their version of a vampire is, but they did a bunch of that. They would, attack these Japanese soldiers and then, make it look like they were basically attacked and partially eaten. And yeah, I would never go noodling either. You don't know. My luck is I'd stick my hand in some dirt hole underwater and it'd be a snapping turtle in there. And I'd pull back a stump and be like, oh, yeah. It's like, no. I'm never going to be bait for something that if I can help it. No. That's how I feel. David says, yeah, it's God. Have you ever seen like an alligator snapper and how big they are? I mean, their heads can literally be like this, and they can bite through a stick like this, this like a, inch and a half or so stick. They can just chomp it in half. What do you think it's going to do to your hand or your arm? You're either pulling back a full stump or you're pulling back, minus some fingers. And they're quick as hell. I mean, those things can like shoot their heads out and grab fish. You ever try to grab a fish? They're like lightning and they're monsters. Oh, there's no way in hell I want any piece of me near something like that. All right, here's another one, number 9. They take babies. So, see, I mean, honestly, it's like some of the real stuff is just as scary as some of this folklore. It's like alligator snapping turtles. Yep, nope, I'm good. Tigerfish, big, shark-sized catfish that suck people in other countries. It's like, nope. Oh, it's disgusting. All right, this one's called Bendith. A clan of Welsh fairies are notorious baby nappers. Well, they nab human babies and replace them with their own deformed offspring, known as crimbills. Sometimes the Bendith will return the baby after teaching it about music, but more often than not, parents require the assistance of a witch to get their child back. Ooh. When they aren't taking children, the Bendith get their kicks riding horses and tangling up their mares. Oh, or their manes, rather, not their mares. Yeah, that's kind of wild. That's, many troll legends speak of replacing babies with, these shape-shifting beings. I can't remember what they're called, but yeah. So it's a very common trope in the folklore of stealing babies and replacing them with some version of these other creatures. Yeah, and oftentimes in the troll stuff, or I don't know if it's trolls or if it's what is goblins or something. When they replace the baby, it's done with this shape-shifting thing, and basically that baby gets sick and dies, and so the parents think they lost their child. Meanwhile, their child is actually still abducted in the realm of the goblins or whatever. So it's really market. They take them to market? Is that what you're saying? Well, that's horrible. The ghost box said market. I think that's disturbing as hell. I hope that's not true, ghost box. I'm just saying that they take babies to market. Changelings, thank you. I just was gone. That was gone from my mind. Yeah, changelings. They would, pretend to be sick and then die, and then the parents would bury this dead changeling thing, and the baby, meanwhile, is in the other world, maybe in a market. That's what it kind of looked like in Hellboy. there's a whole market under there, all kinds of disturbing stuff. But anyway, their ugliness can end you. Oh, that's got to be terrible. Look at that. It's got one leg. It's got I don't know, is this one big butt cheek or what's going on here? I'm not really sure what I'm looking at. Or just one big hip. And then that face with one hand. Okay. A threatening but solitary creature, the Fashan fairy, lives in the Highland Mountains. The Fashan's brooding nature is due to its appearance, as it has only one of everything. One ear. This had 2 ears. Come on. One ear, one arm, one leg, one toe. That's got too many toes. And one eye. And all these features are centered directly down the middle of its body, which is both hairy and feathery. These creatures are said to be so hideous that the mere sight of them can stop a person's heart. The Fashan is sensitive about not having wings or the gift of flight, so it waves a spiked club at all living things that crosses its path. Well, there's you can definitely see that this got the genetic short straw, as it were. I don't know. I feel bad for them, poor guys. Here's ones they wreck ships, number 11. The Blue Men of Minch, not to be confused with the Blue Men of Las Vegas, that, bang on PVC pipes. Orc sea kelpies prey on sailors. They sport green beards and hair and are pretty buff. Some say these creatures live in caves underwater and that they can control the weather and the seas. If you ever plan on sailing the high seas, make sure you have what it takes to defeat the sea kelpies. According to Folklore, captains have escaped disaster on the water simply with their sharp tongues. However, the Blue Men of the Minch can only be beaten in rhyming duels. Ooh, must be hell of rhymers. I'm bringing Eminem, that's it. I'm beginning to feel like a rap god. I'm just saying, bring a rapper. All right, they get you lost. That's many of these fae. How much more is this? This might be a lot more. I thought we were going to burn through this. I'll do this one and then we'll be done for the night on this story. They get you lost. Again, the fae luring children is nothing new. It's well implied in all of the tales that they like to lead children away. And adults as well, if they can. Mischievous will-o'-the-wisps haunt marshy ground and love playing practical jokes. However, their jokes consist of leading travelers astray with their flickering lights, sometimes leading people straight to their doom in the bogs. It's believed that steering clear of will-o'-the-wisp footpaths is the best way to avoid them, although they're known to sometimes help people who are kind to them and offer them money. Oh, that's good. Just have your wallet handy in case you encounter them and just offer them cash. I don't know if they take the cash or if it's just the offer, but either way, that's horrid. Yeah. Again, why are there so many tales like this? I don't know. It's plenty disturbing though. Plenty weird stuff, ladies and gentlemen. That's very, very weird. Very weird, very weird. I never did pull up any of those, so okay. I want to see where we're at here. Okay. Did we do this one? I don't think we did. Did we? I got to look at this quick because Oh, yeah. Yes, we did read this one. Okay, I just want to make sure, because we're about to get to the cryptids, and I want to make sure I'm not repeating stuff, but I wanted to start with a bang here. How are we doing for time? Actually, we're doing really good. Okay. So we're not probably going to start with the cryptids just yet, because I want to read one of these other stories that I pulled up. These are not long, maybe both of them actually, because they're coming from a site called Curiosmos. And let me just see. Have I missed anything in the chats, guys? Have I missed anything? But Digger Dogs, I'm too pretty to be ugly. Eric Fry's too pretty to be ugly. Got it. What's up with the one leg thing? That lone Asian looking lady with the one leg, that is a bad omen in the Philippines, I think it is. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why that is, but they apparently don't like one-legged things over there. There was no politics on here. Ugliness can end you. Yeah. That's true. I'm just looking at the chats because I missed so much. Black market for human babies. Yeah, that's creepy. That's creepy. I was only talking about kids being taken by these supernatural beings, not by creepy people, which is a whole nother disgusting thing. Yeah, there's horrible stuff in the world. A little libation to wash it all down. A beer market? Rachel says. Oh, good to see you, Digger Dog. Thanks for coming in. I'm just catching up with what I can see here. Brent, what are your thoughts? Paranormal Portal first annual Idaho fishing trip. Get a bunch of folks together for some killer salmon and steelhead. Yeah, I'd have to go pretty far south for that. I don't think there's any salmon fishing up here. I do catch trout, though. Mrs. Portal and I and the Minion go trout fishing. And we catch the hell out of some rainbows. I'm just here to tell you. We've done pretty well this year. It's less so me. I don't know why. I mean, I've been fishing my whole life. I grew up on the shores of the mighty Mississippi and spent most of my childhood shore fishing and fishing from boats when I could. And, I caught all kinds of, walleye, bass, northern pike. Even caught a gar, I actually caught sturgeon. I caught a sturgeon once, which was, I didn't even know what it was. It's crazy. Got Justin Goodearth popped in over on Rumble. Good to see you, Justin. I've been away busy with my daughter's wedding, but that's all done now. Thank God. Oh, congratulations. Congratulations to your daughter and her new beginning. That's really exciting. Good deal. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, a paranormal fishing, we'd have to go fishing for Bigfoot then if it was paranormal fishing, or ghost hunting with fishing rods or something. We'll drag EMF detectors on the end. We'll just cast them into a space and bring them back and see if they go off while we're reeling them in, or cat balls. Yeah, could do that. But yeah, if it's paranormal fishing, we're going to have to make it paranormal, John. I'm just saying. We're all fishing for the cryptids. I may have missed it, but what is the site you are reading from, Brent? Which one? The one I was just reading was Ranker. Ranker.com. I can put a link into the chat, but I didn't want you guys to read ahead because I like when we read it together, but I'll put it in the chat just so you guys can see. If you want to check out the site, that'd be cool. And over here, I do announce at the beginning of every article which site it comes from. The creeks are generally haunted here. Are they really, John? Tommy? Tommy, you're over in the East Coast, right? Is that a bunch of like Civil War stuff, or what is it that makes? What part of the world are you in, by the way? I know you're in the East over there somewhere, but let me know what part of the world. Pennsylvania. Well, Pennsylvania. Tommy, everything's weird over in Pennsylvania, brother. You guys got Bigfoot, Dogman, UFOs. You got strange phenomena. You got a ton of stuff over there. That's just crazy. Pennsylvania is just about as weird as Ohio. And Ohio's pretty much off the charts. But yeah, Pennsylvania for sure. Lots of strangeness. Yeah, absolutely. I know we've covered tons of Pennsylvania stuff through the years on the show. tons, enough for me to go, man, what's going on in Pennsylvania? I mean, every place has its stuff. Every place has its phenomena. It's things that go on. And maybe there's really no one place that's more active than another, but it sure seems like things like Ohio and Pennsylvania is another one. Certainly Washington State and Florida for the Bigfoot activity and skunk apes. And I mean, there's just tons of stuff everywhere, though. I live in the north tip of Idaho, really like almost in Canada. It's like literally Canada is an hour drive away, and I'd be in Canada. So, but even up here is where I first saw the UFO that I saw. And there's plenty of activity dealing with Sasquatch up here. We found an amazing shelter that was pretty incredible. And I've showcased the pictures several times. And if you want to see the pictures of the Bigfoot shelter, what we believe is a Bigfoot shelter, they're on the Instagram. So if you go check out Instagram, you can see those pictures are in a series there. And it's like a dome. It's really like a dome. But the interesting thing is all the branches are broken. Nothing's cut. They're all broken from about 25 to 30 feet up this conifer tree that's right next to it. I mean, it's right up the trunk. These branches are all broken. And they brought them down. And then, they didn't just fall into this pile. Because if they had, the stick part would be down and all of the needles and stuff would be up because they'd catch all the air. The stick part would be the heaviest and it would fall down like that. But all of the sticks are going up and all of the needles and stuff are covering this dome. But they're rudimentarily woven in there. And you can see from the pictures some of that weaving and some of almost like a fashion door frame. It's just incredible. But those pictures are on Instagram if you guys want to check it out, along with a print that I found about a quarter mile away, but it was on an incline going up a mountainside. It was pretty incredible. But the site where this happened was a site where the homeowners had 30 chickens, and they were down to 9. And they found a tear in their chicken enclosure about this big, a tear that was like... back behind me over here, just hanging out. But there was no feather litter. These chickens were just gone. It wasn't like a predator had grabbed them and like a fox or something, or a raccoon or a hawk or an owl. Because when a chicken gets grabbed by a predator, it just goes nuts and it's blowing feathers and it's just a mess. There's nothing, just less chickens every day. And once this structure was found, once we checked it out. And thoroughly checked it out. Went inside it. Actually, one of our research friends, Sidney Goodbreak, got up on the side of it and was like bouncing, and it was so well built that it wasn't caving in or anything. After we did that, they no longer touched this, and it just decayed into nothing. Like they left it alone after that, and they never lost another chicken. So I don't know. Do I know it was a Bigfoot site for sure? No, but I really believe it was. And it wasn't the teepee thing. It was a dome. It was one sapling bent over, like a 6-inch sapling bent over into a bow. How it was done without snapping that, I have no idea. But then everything was anchored and everything else was woven around it into this dome-like structure. It's just incredible. So check out those pictures. I hope they do it justice. I took all those pictures myself. So I often wonder where the feathers go when Bigfoot steals chickens. Maybe it's just they go far away from the farm. Yes, exactly. That's what our take on it too was, Rachel, is that they carried them off. They just grabbed them and carried them off. Probably carried them like a football or tucked it into its body and just carried away. The feathers couldn't flap or whatever, and just held them and probably just went. Or it grabbed them and snapped its little neck. But even then, you ever, not that people should see this, but even when they harvest chickens, and I'm saying harvest because it sounds terrible to say slaughtering chickens, but, and oftentimes, on small farms, it's done with something sharp and they just take off the dome, and these chickens run around flopping and, all over the yard blowing, blood and everything. But whatever it was like they were just Maybe they reached in, grabbed it, and snapped their necks and just pulled it out and carried it away. I don't know. But in any case, pretty crazy stuff. But that's all in the north of Idaho. Again, I saw my UFO up here. This home that we're in and many other homes in the area have quite a bit of activity. As far as spiritual activity, there's UFO activity. There's lots of stuff here. So I don't think it really matters where you are. There's just stuff everywhere. I think we're just becoming more aware of this other worlds that have always been around us. We just kind of ignored them because we didn't know what to do with them, or we didn't acknowledge them, or we just pretended that we didn't hear anything or see anything. Any of the above. I don't know. Food for thought, though. All right. What did I miss? First time here. What do you do on this channel? We talk about the paranormal. This is Shadow Side Paranormal Research Society. Great to see you. We talk about articles oftentimes. We talk about phenomena. We talk about everything from UFOs to spirits to strange phenomena to cryptozoology. It's all on the table. Basically, these live streams. Now, the Paranormal Portal is also a podcast where I interview experiencers, and those are audio only usually, but I do record them and do video podcasts, which are available on a playlist on both Rumble and YouTube called Video Podcast Episodes. But that's on all the major platforms: iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Stitcher, Castbox, Pandora, etc., Spotify. But these are like a variety show. These live streams are like a variety show where we talk about a lot of stuff. We talk about the news. We talk about random articles dealing with this phenomena, and then we talk about cryptids to usually close out every show. So that's what this show is. But it's great to see you. Thanks for coming in, Shadow Side Paranormal. It's wonderful to meet you. Thanks for giving us a shot at the very least. You know, you may not love it. You might. I don't know. Depends on what your tastes are. Some people think that, you know, we get too silly, but I think it's great. You know, the stuff is all dark enough anyway. There's no reason to keep it all creepy and theatrical. We can just have a good time talking about it. So, and hopefully you like what you hear. If not, you know, at least thank you for checking it out. That's the greatest thing I could ask for. I plan on someday making my way to El Yunque, which is Puerto Rico's answer to Mount Shasta. Huh. That sounds interesting. I don't know that I'm familiar with any of it. Shadow Side Paranormal says, I'm a paranormal investigator, but into Bigfoot big time. Oh, fantastic. Very cool. Very cool. Well, you know, I do some paranormal investigating as well. We did just published several weeks back now an investigation we did at the haunted Davenport Hotel. And that's on the channel under the investigations videos. That's a playlist. And just look for the haunted Davenport Hotel in Spokane, Washington video on this channel. I don't know. I mean, I think it was pretty cool. But it's my own experiences, so you be the judge. But I will tell you one thing. I do a lot of home investigations. Oh, that's really cool. Very cool, Shadow Side. One thing I will tell you is that I can only put it to you this way. You know, I mean, there's a lot of channels out there doing investigations, and God bless them. I don't pretend to know for sure what's going on in their situations. I will say there's a lot of channels that seem to have some pretty sensational stuff going on. And constantly door slamming, things flying and stuff. And I don't know if it's all real or some of it's fabricated or all of it's fabricated. I don't know. But I can only say that one thing is I do take this stuff incredibly seriously, even though we joke around a lot on the shows. I do take this incredibly seriously, and I'm into the paranormal because I've had a lot of my own experiences, and I'm looking for answers. And one of the ways I look for answers is by going out there and seeing what I can find when we do investigations. So if you ever watch an investigation we've done, I'm my hand to God on everything that I love and is holy. I will never fabricate or embellish or fictionalize anything that you're seeing. Whatever you're seeing is exactly what happened as it happened. The only thing I will say is that obviously investigations go on for hours and hours, and people's attention spans don't, so everything's edited down just to the important parts. things that popped off during the investigation that we found interesting, or I found interesting, and check it out. But there's too many channels that, and again, I'm not pointing any fingers because I can't know for sure, but I just don't think you can always have doors slamming at every location you go to, and glasses flying and things moving. I just don't think that stands to reason that you have that much profound activity everywhere you go. But that's my take on it. However, I love watching it all anyway. Even if I don't necessarily believe what I'm watching is necessarily real, I think it's cool to watch and to see what people are doing. So, but anyway, just some food for thought. Thank you, Weird Traveler. I appreciate that. I respect that, Brent. Thanks. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up with that article. I guess we are gonna dive into the cryptids now because I went and flapped my lips for another 20 minutes. That's okay though. I love talking with you guys directly like this, having discussions through the chat. I got about 10 videos coming out, and to be honest, a few are quite boring. Yeah, but you know what? That's legitimate. That's real. That's where you get my vote of confidence that what you're doing is legitimate, because I've been on investigations where nothing's happened. And it's still interesting because, you can show that you were there and you can show what the place is like, talk about the history. And if nothing happens, nothing happens. But, honestly, that's real investigating. The person that really brought me into paranormal investigating is a friend of mine named Dan Pruitt. And he had a channel called Red Eyes and Dead Batteries. And that's most of investigating. It's a lot of red eyes and dead batteries. You go to places and you wait and you hope. And if you leave with an EVP, you're winning. Honestly, nobody knows when the paranormal stuff is going to happen. It's not on a schedule. It may not be the entire night you're there. It might not be for months around the time you're there. But then there's one time a year or a few times a year where things really go and they just, take off. And who knows what the rhyme or reason for that is. But yeah, the fact that you put out videos where nothing happens, amen. That's real life investigating. So my hat's off to you, actually, because it'd be too easy. It'd be too easy to look at that and go, well, I don't know. Is anybody going to really watch this? Maybe let's set something up that, we can really hit it with it. And, I just don't care for that stuff too much myself, but to each his own. To each his own. That and the other thing is on all these channels, or many of these channels, everything's a demon. It's a demon. Demon while camping, a demon at this house, at this cabin, at this, castle, at this estate, this haunted hospital. There's demons, It's like, excuse me, I just burped. I apologize. But, everything's not a demon. In fact, in my opinion, demons are incredibly rare, which is good because I don't think people want to be meeting things like that. That's like the worst thing you could actually ever bump into is a demon. And, the last thing you want to do is antagonize something like that. So, God bless you if you got a strong faith and you're not worried about things like that. Okay, good, whatever. But you still don't challenge those dark things. You just leave them where they are, whatever, But anyway, that's Rent a Demon. Adopt a demon. There you go. The burp was the devil coming out. I am healed. Yeah, so good things to think about. But anyway, I just love watching. I'm going to have to check out your channel. I'm going to write it down, as a matter of fact, so I can check it out. Are your videos out already, Shadow Side, or are they just coming out? What are you at with this? Shadow Side Paranormal. Sorry, I got to write it as I'm reading it. Research Paranormal. Where did it go? Research Society. There it is. Research Society. I'll check out some of your channel after, maybe even yet tonight or tomorrow, but they will be out. Okay. Well, I hope you stick around. I hope you continue to follow the show and let us know when you do post things. I'm happy to help, support what you're doing. I think one of the big things in this field, and I've had a number of people extend themselves to help me, and so the least I can do is to carry that forward and help other people. I used to hate Pokemon, the weird traveler. I got a cat named Pikachu, by the way. My little cousin loves Super Smash Brothers. Me being a jerk, I told her that Pikachu was a demon. And she later walked up to my mom and said to her, "I want a demon." Oh yeah, that's got to get them while they're young like that, where you can really mold their thinking. That's a little diabolical. Yeah, but keep us posted, Shadowside. I'd love to, see those videos when they come out. And fantastic, I mean, if you get activity, great. If you don't, well, take people on the journey anyway. I mean, I know a lot of our audience, they just love the opportunity to see how these things happen, So I'm sure many of the people watching this show will love to check them out. All right, so I guess we're going to get to the cryptids now because we're running out of time. And I do want to cover this Dogman story coming up. So without further delay, let's get to that. I've got to go over here, and I got to do this. Thank you, Grumpy Owl, for that. That was wonderful. I just find it so amazing that you guys send in things like that I can utilize on the shows. You guys are awesome. Incredible. All right, here we are at the Cryptid Corner, ladies and gentlemen, where we're going to dive into stories of cryptozoology. And this one happens to be a tall bipedal canine stalks a family in Manistee, Michigan. I gotta say, I'm not sure I ever want to see a Sasquatch unless it's at a fair distance away, and I'm feeling plenty safe at the distance markers, not being real up close and personal, like have one step out of from behind a tree and I gotta crane my neck upwards to see it. That's, to me, would be nightmare fuel. But even less than that, I'd like to come face to face with a Dogman. I mean, my God, I I don't know what that would be like. I mean, already seeing, 8, 9, 10 foot tall, huge hulking ape man or, something, like that would be absolutely horrifying. But seeing a 7, 8, 9 foot werewolf would be even more horrifying because they just look horrifying. And witnesses to the phenomena have made the parallel to the Underworld movies. They say they look just like the werewolves on the Underworld movies. And if you've seen the Underworld movies, they look horrifying. They look absolutely horrifying. And so I don't know what that would be like, but I'm pretty sure that I would leave a fudge stripe all the way back to wherever I came from. It's like, I just can't imagine how you process that. That there you are face to face with something that's, looks like it wants to eat your soul and your body, as one. So if you survive a Dogman sighting, that's amazing. If you don't survive, bragging rights in the afterlife. Yeah, exactly. I mean, so Dogman to me, and by all accounts, they tend to be much more aggressive in the encounters. Now, that doesn't mean that they're actually physically hurting people, but they act more aggressively towards the people. Bigfoot oftentimes will maybe look sideways as they're walking and acknowledge that it sees you, but then doesn't really seem to care, like, oh, one of you guys. And they keep going off into the woods. A Dogman will see you, probably long before you see it, obviously. Both of them probably did. But they will stalk you. They will get close to you in many cases, and they will terrify you until you leave. And it's nothing short of horrifying. I can't imagine what that would be like. But let's get into the story. Phantoms and Monsters is the site, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lon Strickler's site. Just an amazing guy, amazing friend of the show. He's constantly posting his articles on the Paranormal Portal fans page on Facebook. Lon's wonderful. He's been on the show. I love talking to him, and he does a hell of a job. And his Phantoms and Monsters, if you're not familiar with it, has been a pillar in the paranormal Fortean worlds forever. Oh, came a member. Way to roll. Thank you, Shadowside. I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much. But Lon's been at this for a long time, so check it out if you're not familiar with Phantoms and Monsters. You'll find thousands of encounter stories that Lon has submitted and put together for his site, as well as their research efforts. He works with a number of researchers across the country to look into these phenomena, like the cryptids, like the Fortean topics, Mothman, Bigfoot, Dogman, and other cryptids like the white crawlers and pale crawlers, rather, and in the paranormal stuff as well. Lon is really incredible. So he's also got many published books where you can find information on phantomsandmonsters.com, and his own podcast, which is Phantoms and Monsters Radio. And that is a channel on YouTube as well. And I suggest you get subscribed and check it out. He does live streams where he talks about a lot of this stuff. So fantastic. Let's get to this article. Tall bipedal canine stalks family at Manistee, Michigan residence. Oof, stalks a family. That's horrifying. A Manistee, Michigan resident has seen what seems to be an upright canine on different occasions through the years. He's now afraid that his family is being stalked by this creature after a recent sighting. Ugh. I live in northwestern side of Michigan in Manistee, and I continue to live in the same home. I was in my mid-teens when this originally happened. It was at night. My bed was on one wall with a big window on the opposite side. I was on the first floor of the house, but we live on a hill, so it's slanted and still a pretty high window, 9 feet off the ground. Excuse me. I just purged another demon, I guess. Anyway, I woke up one Saturday night feeling really thirsty. Well, it was about 2 a.m, and everyone else in my family was asleep. And I was about to crawl out of my bed to go to the bathroom just down the hall when I looked at the window and froze. At the very bottom of the window, there was a really dark shape, and it looked kind of like the top part of a timber wolf's head. It was a big thing with 2 points that looked like ears on the top. I couldn't make out any other features, so while I was still scared, at first I just thought it was a reflection of something in the room. And then it moved. You know how dogs twitch their ears and perk them up when they're trying to hear better? Well, that's what this thing did. The 2 points that I took for ears twitched and then came back into place. And it wasn't a subtle movement at all, so I knew it wasn't just a reflection. So I immediately thought of the Dogman accounts I had heard from our area. I got really scared then, so I did the typical kid thing and pulled the covers over my head and went back to sleep without getting my water. In the morning, I went outside by the window and noticed disturbed ground, like a man or something on 2 legs had been standing there. No shoe prints, but what looked like elongated wolf prints. There were no marks on the side of the house. The thing that really stumps me is wondering how anything would manage to stay up by a window that's 9 feet off the ground in the first place. After all these years, I've caught a glimpse of a tall bipedal canine on 2 occasions. The most recent was a few weeks ago. As I was in the yard mowing the grass, I saw it moving through the woods, and I'm terrified that this creature may be stalking the family. Have you heard of similar accounts in this area? And there's no response there, so not sure if Lon had other accounts in this area or not, but they do call it the Michigan Dogman for a reason. I think the first Dogman report was from Michigan, from some lumberjacks, some people that were out, harvesting trees. I think that was from the 1800s, if I remember right. And that's a long time ago. I mean, that's quite a while ago. So it's not a new phenomena, even though it's probably more recently come into our general consciousness. But the reports of these things, I'm sure they go way back further than that with the First Nation accounts and stuff. I know there's some tribes that say that the Dogman is a guardian of burial grounds. And so I'm not sure how that works exactly, but so I've heard. And the guardian of portals, I've heard from others. Kerry Arnold was one that told me, well, he'd mentioned it on his show. He didn't tell me directly, but I heard it on his show that he was talking about that. I'm not sure if I was co-hosting with him that night or not. Anyway, yeah, it's very interesting. Now I made all that room with the burps, I got to put something back in there. All right. So interesting story. I don't know. I again, Dogman is no joke. I don't know what they are. There's been some correlations drawn between Dogman and some ancient warriors from over in the Middle East, Africa regions called the cynocephaly. They were known as these dog-headed people. And I don't know that they're one and the same. They may be, but they may not be. I know that, what the hell's his name? Why am I just always forgetting names? I don't know what it is. It's a personal dyslexia, but anytime that I'm going to remember a name, it just slides off my mind, just out. Vic Cundiff was the name I was thinking of. Vic's been on the show a couple times, and I did ask him about that. I said, do you think these are the cynocephaly of ancient lore? And he thought no, that was something different completely. I don't know what I'd have to re-listen to the interview, but I don't remember him saying, well, because of this, this, and this. He just seemed to have a different take. I think it was more about the digigrade versus plantigrade knees that True Dogman seem to have the backward knees, even though it's not really their knee, it's more of their ankle. They just have a really elongated from their ankle heel to the foot pads, but whereas with a regular knee like us, our ankles are way down right by our toes. So I don't know. I'm enjoying a Mountain Dew with ice. Nice job, Nathan. Well played. Cheers to Kerry. Absolutely, Tommy. Yeah, I missed that guy. That one still hurts. That one always will. He and Kev Baker, two people that just, we've lost through the years, and the world seems a lot emptier without them. It's crazy. It's crazy. Wow. Time just brings all kinds of tragedy. And brings wonder, too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be negative, but losing Kerry Arnold was not only losing an incredible voice, but also a dear friend, and it's just still painful. Just life changes in a moment, man. All right, let's go to the next one from Phantoms and Monsters. This one's weird. This one's a very weird one. This is again in Michigan. This is Merrill, Michigan, for any of you in Michigan. This is an insect-eyed kangaroo monkey hybrid creature seen in Merrill, Michigan area. I don't think I've ever heard of one of those before. This kind of goes into the strange weird category because there's things like this are kind of standalone. Unless there's a lot more sightings that have just never been told. I imagine that that's a possibility as well. But this seems like this is the only one of these I've ever heard of, but let's see what it says. I received an inquiry about an insect-eyed kangaroo monkey hybrid creature that has been seen by multiple witnesses in and around Merrill, Michigan. What is it? And Lon says, I received the following account. Hi, Lon. In recent years, there have been multiple sightings in my small town of Merrill, Michigan, of something that doesn't match a single cryptid I've read about. I personally have not seen it, but I've talked to 3 witnesses that I would put my life on, and I really want to know about this thing. The first witness is my uncle, and he's the main reason I'm on this hunt. When he was young, he used to take night walks in the neighbor's woods. Right before sunrise, as long as it was dark enough and no neighbors could see him, he would take a very dim flashlight with him on purpose. And if he thought anyone saw him or was following him, he'd put his hand over it and hide in the darkness of the woods. He claims the main things that scared him were the raccoons and possums. He never had problems with people on his walks, but he still knew the risk of trespassing. Though his story isn't very exciting, he got the best view of the creature out of all 3 witnesses, claiming that it only stood a few feet tall. It had legs bent backwards with large bulbous insect-like eyes, and the rest of it looked like a kangaroo and a monkey hybrid. Many cryptids are close in visual, but none of them have the thick hair and the big eyes like this one had. I showed him drawings of other look-alike cryptids, and he dismissed every one of them. He claimed that he was walking out of the woods just as it was getting brighter. The sky was gray and the woods were still dark from the trees, but the road was almost visible down the whole mile. On his way across the road back to the house, he saw the thing a little ways down the road, and it's said to have crossed the road in 2 steps. Despite being short and disappearing into the woods, my uncle had just exited. A second witness is deceased now, and he was a natural conspiracist, so it came as no surprise when I heard this guy's story a few years ago. His description was much less valuable. I have the belief that this was the same cryptid. A couple miles away from the first incident, this man said he had seen a small ape-like figure jump almost to the top of the trees. And this is the least resourceful sighting because I cannot ask this man to answer anything he left out to give more info. This is all I have for his sighting. The third is my grandma's good friend Sylvia from a state away. Every 4th of July, they park a camper in my grandma's yard and stay for a week or two to visit all the friends and family they left behind when they moved out of state. Keep in mind, these folks have never even heard the stories of this creature. And for the story, I was in the house as it happened. Sylvia's husband had just had a few beers with my grandparents. There's a big tree on the side of a barely used road, and he walks over to it to relieve himself. Got those country rules. And as he was by this tree, he noticed the same thing. Black bug eyes my uncle had seen. And it was staring him down from the tree line across the road, and as soon as he focused on it, the cryptid backed up into the brush and was gone. My uncle freaked out about this, as you would. As crazy as it sounds, me and my whole family believe and know this creature. We've even narrowed down where it possibly calls home based on how far sightings go. Any ideas? Note, the bulbous insect eyes description throws me off on this one. Any thoughts? Yeah, I don't have any idea. I mean, the only thing I could think of is the Cherokee had this little people reports, and they were kind of purple though. They were purple little people, but they were said to have large bulbous eyes and look really creepy, but they also had little hats and wore clothing. And so I don't know, but they're the Cherokee little people. They were kind of the very benevolent ones, the good ones. The bad ones looked like the gnomes, the garden gnome statues, the red caps. Yeah, the Cherokee didn't like them very much, apparently. At least in the East Coast. I don't know how they fared everywhere else, but yeah, the reports of little people like that, proto-pygmies and stuff, it's tough to say. But the furry part, I don't get. Now, he never mentioned they were purple. Didn't really talk about a color, did he? Did he ever mention a color? He claims to look at the woods getting brighter. Road was almost visible. 2 steps despite being short and disappearing into the woods. My uncle had just exited, so I didn't really get a color on this. Did you guys? Did I miss it when I was reading it? Not really. It just says insect-eyed kangaroo monkey hybrid creature. So I don't know if there was a color associated with it or not, but it could be the Cherokee little people, I guess. Again, just a guess, but I don't know. Yeah, no mention of spikes going down the back for a chupacabra, that's for sure. I don't know. Weird stuff. I think we got time for one more, so let's see about one more, shall we? I don't have any answers on that one. Bigfoot news. Oh, yeah, the Bigfoot was playing with my daughter. That's where I came up with this one. Demons responsible for UFO sightings. Huh. That's right, I pulled that up. Possible cryptid canine encountered at Long Lake, Wisconsin. Moving over to Wisconsin for another Dogman reports. We don't get a lot of Dogman reports, and I don't really, I tried many times through the years to look for them, but ever since I got to know Lon and got his blessing to use the site, I guess I haven't really dug into his Dogman reports, but when they come up, when he posts them, I'm like, ooh, let's check that out. Because I like learning more about this. Again, some people may say, like, these anecdotal sightings of these creatures, well, whatever. Too easy to dismiss. People are bad witnesses, whatever. But if you just discard them out of hand, you're missing an opportunity at least to get a snapshot of a behavior, observed behavior. And whether it's absolutely accurate or just close, either way, it gives us a glimpse. And that's something better than what we got, which is a bunch of nothing with these things. We know about nothing about any of them. So I think these reports are valuable and shouldn't be just dismissed out of hand just because they're a sighting and people, embellish and sometimes don't really see things clearly. But at any rate, let's see what's going on in Wisconsin here. A teen and his cousin were playing airsoft in the woods at Long Lake, Wisconsin. After going deeper into the forest, the teen observes a wolf-like creature that eventually chases both of them. Oh, God. How horrible is that? You're out there with an airsoft gun. Looks like a gun, however, is not going to have the same impact at all. That's another thing about Dogman, though, is that guns generally aren't reported to be real effective. I don't know why, because, you have a big Win Mag or something like that, and you dump it into any other animal and it's going down, but somehow people are shooting the Dogman with stuff like that, and they can see the impact, they can hear the impact, but it seems to have no effect, or very, very minimal effect, if any. And that's crazy. I don't know. Maybe it is really, really, truly supernatural. Let's see what it says. Hi, Lon. Just started reading your blog. When I was younger, 16 or 17, I think, I had an encounter with something strange in the forest near Danbury, Wisconsin. Background on me is that I'm a 6'4" and athletic. I'm a hunter, camper, and a martial artist. Generally a survivalist. I was naive and didn't give nature the proper level of respect and basically was a cocky teenager who just felt invincible. Our cabin had been on Long Lake in Danbury. The whole area is forested for the most part. And I was there on vacation with my cousin and grandparents, and it was a nice hot summer day. And we decided to play airsoft. I took airsoft really seriously. I wore a full BDU woodland and a camouflage mask even. My cousin just wore jeans and a t-shirt. Yes, that sounds fair. We had a battle which I took into the woods where I felt comfortable. And we're about 150 yards into the forest when we stopped. Then I decided to tease my cousin. I shushed him and said, "We're being watched," jokingly. Unfortunately, it turned out to not be much of a joke, because I immediately noticed that the whole woods were dead quiet. What was that? I heard another voice in my headphones. Weird. I was on edge very quickly. Next, the feeling of being watched hit hard, so I started scanning the surrounding area. Then I saw it. The whitish teeth gave it away. What I saw was at the edge of a clearing about 40 meters from us, crouched and holding onto a tree with its left hand. It was panting and watching us with its ears up. It had reddish-brown hair, fur, and looked canine. And in my head, it clicked as a werewolf. And I said to my cousin, "We have to go." He bolted, and I still had my eyes on it when my cousin started sprinting. The creature charged, and it ran on two legs for maybe 10 feet, and then dropped to all fours. And then I turned and sprinted. I could hear it crashing through the woods behind us as we ran out of the woods. Once back at the cabin, we discussed it. And it's still unclear if my cousin saw it, and I told him I thought it was a bear just to not freak him out, but I know bears, and it wasn't a bear. I started doing research on these things after my encounter, which brought me to many Dogman-related sites. What I saw coincides with other people's sightings. I'm now far better about respecting nature and am extremely cautious with the forests. If I go into nature alone, I'm always armed, but I prefer not to be alone. That was 12 years ago, and I haven't seen anything like that since. Always trust your senses. Wow. Could you imagine just being a jerk? Go, hey, quiet. And then something's out there. And then you look and there really is something out there. It's like, oh, wah, wah, wah. Yeah, that's here. Yeah, that's not the way you want it to go. That wrecked a perfectly good prank. Just turns out it was actually accurate. There was something out there. I'm describing it as if it's starving and happy to see dinner. Oh, sounds creepy. There you go. Well, anyway, that was a good one. I don't know. We don't have a lot of time left. I guess I could do one more because I did start late because of the technical issues. So how about we do one more? We'll do one more. This one maybe not yet. Kind of went to wait till Don was here. This one I think is going to be too long. What do we got here? This one is one that just came out, and I think it'll be a good one to do. Because this is another weird one that just kind of, I don't really know what to do with it. It sounds strange. But muscular bovine-headed not deer encountered at Lake Conroe, Texas. So for any of you, if you're not familiar with it, there's this term that's kind of been making the rounds, and it's called not deer. And essentially what it is it's these creatures that look just like deer and form and almost seemingly in function, but they'll get up on two legs and start running and stuff. So they're not deer, but they're deer, but they're not deer. They look like deer. They'll have antlers and the deer heads, deer ears, but they are not quadrupedal exclusively. They'll get up and be bipedal. Now I know deer will get up and rear up on, two legs and do their kung fu things when they're slapping hunters that are, dousing themselves in doe urine and stuff for a video. But generally speaking, they stay on all fours. However, these not deer don't. They've been seen allegedly chasing cars in this bipedal fashion, which is creepy. It almost sounds like maybe a skinwalker thing. I don't know. It's a strange thing. But this one is very different because it talks about a very muscular, bovine-headed or cow-headed, not deer. So let's see what this one is. All right, a teen was walking around Lake Conroe, Texas one night when he encountered a strange-looking deer. It was extremely muscular with a cow-like head, and it also walks like a person with four legs. Walks like a person with four legs? Or on two legs? I don't understand that. All right, let's see what it says. This occurred back in 2012 when I was 16 years old. Around this time, I'd spend the summer in Lake Conroe, Texas, in this middle-class subdivision near the resort, backing up to the lake. Well, I'd go on walks often, and was used to seeing wild animals like owls, raven, falcon, rabbits, your occasional fox, and deer. I haven't been back since my grandma sold the house. Well, at around 9:30 p.m., I was walking around the neighborhood when I spotted a doe. She was across the street where the main street that loops around and crosses with another residential street. Walking out of a patch of woods, it was normal to see a deer around there, and like I said, but this time it felt different. She was really big and thick in stature, had muscle mass, and had a thicker neck and big cheeks. Just almost like a cow head. She just stood there in the middle of the street, and I stood and watched her. There was a street light overhead, but the street lights were sparse there, making everything around her very dark in contrast. And we both stood there for about a minute, and she didn't look at me. Then she walked away slowly onto another patch of woods on the other side. But not like how a deer normally trots, but like a person with four legs would. I've never seen the joints above the hoof move like that. I was never scared, but felt kind of quiet on the insides. when she crossed into the woods, I thought to myself, what a weird deer. I don't know if this was a not deer or a deer with a disability or a genetic defect, but it stuck with me. The moment was ethereal. I looked up chronic wasting disease, and she didn't seem to have it. If anything, she looked more beefy and muscular than your average whitetail. She had the same colors as a whitetail, but she was thicker all over. Had a bovine-looking head and ears not moving, and walked smoothly like a person with 4 legs. Imagine ankles smooth. Huh, okay, well that's what it means with 4 legs. Walking like a person with 4 legs, okay. That is interesting. I don't know. Hell, that's a strange one. But again, it's these weird one-off ones. What do you do with those? I don't know. They're just weird. They're just weird. What if deer collectively are creating a tulpa that looks like a deer, and human-like? Or hunters are manifesting not deer, as they do have to be certain that they're not targeting a human. It's not deer. Is it still alive? Love to be here when he calls us out. For sure, Lisa. I'm here. You're here. I'm still alive. And thank you for being here. It's nice to meet you. I appreciate you stopping in. Yep, we're still live. Actually, one of the reasons we're still live is because I started late. I find not deer accounts fascinating, Weird Traveler says. Yeah, me too. You know, I'm not really into believing cryptids, but strangely, I find myself looking out for werewolves, says Taipan. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. You got to wonder if if by virtue of looking for them, does that somehow create some kind of entanglement with them, and then you're more likely to see them, kind of thing. And I don't know if there's any merit to that, because there's a lot of Bigfoot researchers that are out there looking for Bigfoot, and they will look out there for all the time. They're out in the woods. They're hitting the sticks every chance they get, going to different areas and stuff, and may never ever see one. And then there's, Joe Schmo just, walking along a dirt road, and they walk right in front of you. So it's very strange. But it does make me wonder, because you hear about that. You hear about the, be careful what you wish for, that old logic, because it might just happen. That's why I don't ever look for nothing except ghosts. I don't mind looking for ghosts. I don't know about the big creatures though. That's a little more, I don't know, emasculating for me, I guess. I don't know. The spirit stuff, I've been around for a lot of my life, so I've had a lot of haunting experiences and dealing with hauntings. Lived in several houses that were pretty active, and I don't know. I just never really. And again, I'm not trying to sound like I've got it all together or something, but I don't know. I've just never felt extraordinarily threatened, and maybe it's because what I met wasn't threatening. Maybe it was just saying, "Hey, I'm here." But, the creatures are different. You just don't know what they're thinking. And maybe that's just me trying to, put my own thinking into them. But when something is the size of, the ceiling of the room you're in, when that's how big it is, and it's huge, and it doesn't look happy to see you, it's like, my God, that would just be horrifying. So, yeah, there it is. I don't know. Just some strangeness that we love to discover here on the portal. And by all means, again, I love looking up and seeing new names in the chat. Thank you so much for those of you that are coming in and checking out the shows. I think that's amazing. I love it, and I'd love for you to keep coming back. If you like what you're seeing and you like the discussions, please do subscribe and become part of the family, by God, because we're growing. We're growing. We're going to take over someday. I don't want to take over anything. I just love talking about this stuff. You are enough, Brent. Aw, thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. I really do. I just love doing this. I love doing these shows. I love talking about this weirdness and this strangeness. And I love the fact that you guys come and hang out with me while I do it. It's an incredible thing. I don't know, I don't advertise these shows. So the fact that you guys find it is just so cool to me. I just can't thank you guys enough. And thank you especially to those of you who do let other people know about these shows. That helps out a ton. I mean, obviously, I would do this for an audience of 5 people. I really would, because I just love talking about this stuff. But it is amazing when so many of you guys come in and hang out and have these discussions. And the more people having the discussions, the greater the conversation is. So the more of you out there listening and participating, you don't have to participate, but the more of you that are listening, the more fun it is. I mean, honestly. So anyway, that's going to about wrap it up for tonight, I think. What time is it? It is 9:01. I guess we're about good. That's been about 2 hours. Wow. I'm sorry you just got here, Lisa. Unfortunately, we usually start these streams at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So, 10 p.m. Eastern, whatever that works out for you, I don't know. But you'll have to reconcile that with your own time zone. But we do these live streams every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday night. So if you can, if you're available on those nights, love to have you come in and stop in. Again, usually Don would be here joining me right now, but he got wrapped into work, and so he couldn't be here. So anytime the show is live, it's 100% of the time loaded on the main YouTube page as one of the thumbnails. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's always there, posted live. Although I've sometimes had tabs open and then gone back, oh, they're live, and then realized it was long over, like 2 hours ago. So I fall for that too. It happens on Facebook all the time. Oh, they're live. Click and no, it's 2 hours ago. Weird. Yes, I have a theory about black-eyed kids too, that they're a vector for negative energy. Like a bat can carry a virus, BEK, carry negative energy to consume positive energy from people. Huh. I don't know. I don't know if negative energy can consume positive energy. I don't know if that's and you could be right. I like to think that positive is so much more powerful than negative. It's just negative is easier. It's always easier to be negative. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's an interesting take. They could be it could be some kind of spiritual pathogen. That's a great take, actually. I don't know. Black-eyed kids are plenty creepy. I don't know what to think of them. I don't know if they're spiritual, if they're a demonic thing, or if they're a extraterrestrial thing, or if they're just something else completely. Some other trans-dimensional being that pops into our sphere or not. I don't know. Again, we don't know all about any of this stuff. We don't know hardly anything about any of this stuff, but the real pleasure in all of this is just to be on the journey. I think it's great to look into the unknown, this unusual stuff that happens in our world and often gets ignored or just treated like, well, that's just where things went weird. I think it's so much more than that. This stuff is demonstrating the true nature of reality and how robust reality actually is. It's not this concrete box that we have to fit in. It's this dynamic, fluid existence. And it has layers to it. It's alive in a sense. So I don't know. Just my 2 cents for whatever that's worth. But I'm about out of steam, so I got to go. Very tired. Well, thank you, Weird Traveler. Thanks for coming in. It was a pleasure meeting you. Thanks so much. Hope you subbed, and we'll come back on Friday. Again, Wednesday, Friday, Saturdays, live stream, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern. Love to have you guys sit in. Also, watch out for the podcasts. Podcasts are audio. I do video podcasts as well, video recordings of the podcast interviews as I do them. But the podcasts are available everywhere. If you got a cell phone and look for the podcast button, either Android or iTunes, hit it, search for Paranormal Portal, and you'll find all of our catalog. There's well over, I guess it's about 350 episodes on the podcast now or better. I don't know how many I got. There's tons of them. There's over 1,500 old streams on YouTube as well. I've been doing YouTube for a lot longer. There were several years where I did YouTube 7 days a week. I did live streams 7 days a week. So I ended up with a ton of videos on YouTube, as you can imagine. But anyway, that's all I got. I'm out of steam. So remember, tune in on Friday when we're live again. Check out the podcast if you haven't. And just remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other, help each other out, find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. Keep June 8th open on your calendar if you can. Head over to Kalispell, Montana, and you can meet Don and I over there at the Bigfoot Town Hall in Kalispell, Montana, June 8th. That'll be going on. There'll be free door prizes. It's free admission. You don't have to pay to get in. You got to figure out how to get there and where to stay while you're there. But it's at the Red Lion Inn in Kalispell, Montana. You can meet me and Don, and as well as the hosts from Bigfoot Today. So I just remembered I forgot to promote that on the front of the show, so I'm doing it on the back end. All right, guys, that's it for tonight. Love you guys. We'll see you on Friday, hopefully. Until then, have a great week. Happy Hump Day. All right, see you guys.